Welcome to Keyboard Hitter. This is Keyboard Hitter AngularJS episode 5. Episode 5 is about Angular module and controllers. Today's agenda. What is Angular module and how to create a module? What is Angular controller and how to create a controller? How to register a controller into Angular module? And obviously application walkthrough. Your support is all I need, so please hit the like button below. And please subscribe my channel for upcoming latest episodes on AngularJS. So let's begin. So far with Keyboard Hitter AngularJS tutorials, we talk about what is AngularJS, what is the benefit of using AngularJS, how can we create a barebone application structure of an AngularJS application using Yeoman, Grunt and Bower. We also talk about Grunt and the implementation details of Grunt within an AngularJS application. We also talk about Node Package Manager, Bower that we can use to include external dependencies within our AngularJS application. So here in this episode we are going to talk about Angular modules and controllers, and we will see their implementation within an AngularJS application. The solution structure that you can see on the left hand side of the screen that we had created using Yeoman, Grunt and Bower. Now from this video onwards I will talk about each and every components of AngularJS framework. So for the simplicity of these videos, I removed all the already completed files from the solution structure so that we can continue these tutorials and we can talk about these files and we can create these files one by one on our own so that our understanding will be clear. So here in this episode we will talk about Angular module and controller. So what is Angular module? So Angular module basically an entry point for an AngularJS application from where Angular will bootstrap the framework itself. Now we can consider this as the main method that we do have within a console application. So that main method within a console application is the starting point of the application. Similarly here, an AngularJS module is a starting point from where Angular bootstrap the framework itself. And so what is a way to define an Angular module within an AngularJS application? For that you don't need to use an inbuilt function of AngularJS framework which is module. So we will write angular.module. Now this is the function. So it will take some arguments. So the first argument will be module name. So we'll write as demo Angular app. That is our module. And the second parameter will be list of dependencies. Now a module within an AngularJS application can be dependent on multiple modules. So in the later videos we will see about module dependencies, but in this video we will skip this part and we will continue with a single module which is demo Angular app. So this is the way that we define a module within an AngularJS application. Now it's time to create a controller. So what is a controller? A controller basically a JavaScript function which exposes a JavaScript object that we called as data model. Now this controller create JavaScript object as data model and pass that model to the view so that view can parse it and can show it on the page in the browser. So let's write a JavaScript function called var demo controller. It will be a JavaScript function which will take $scope, and now within this function we will set a property called test message equal to hello world. Now the first question will come to your mind is, what is this $scope? Now this $scope is an object that will be automatically injected by the AngularJS framework itself when we will use this controller within a view. Okay, now we have a controller ready with us which is nothing but a JavaScript function which is exposing a JavaScript object or JavaScript properties for the view, so that view will be able to parse these properties and can show this the value of these properties on the web page. Okay, so now it's time to register this controller to our module. So for that, what we can do, we can write var module equal to Angular module demo Angular app. So we are assigning the module within a local variable called module. Now we are going to use the inbuilt function of AngularJS framework, which is controller. Okay, now this controller function will take the first argument as the controller name, so we will name it as demo ctrl. Now this ctrl is the naming convention for the controller. So whatever name you give, and at the end you should give this ctrl to follow the naming convention defined by the AngularJS framework itself. And the second parameter will be an anonymous function block, okay, which we have already defined, that is demo controller. So far we created a module, then we defined a function to be used as controller, and then we kept this module or stored this module or assigned this module within a local variable called module. And by using this inbuilt function of AngularJS framework controller, we registered this controller demo controller within that particular module, demo Angular app module. Okay, now let's optimize this piece of codes here. So what we can do, we can keep this function away, and basically we will take this anonymous function block from here and we will directly paste it here, so that we can nullify these 2 lines of code. Then again we can nullify this piece of code as well. So for that, what we need to do, we need to cut this thing from here and we have to paste this thing after the module definition like this. So we can give a enter here. So that is it. So we have one module ready, and within that module we have one controller called demo controller, and this is the controller JavaScript anonymous function block, where we are passing this $scope, which will be automatically injected by the AngularJS framework itself. And within this $scope we are passing a property called test message, and the value is hello world. So as we have our module and controller ready, so it's time to integrate this module and controller within a view or a HTML page. So for that we will use our index.html. So right now within index.html we have only hello world text. So if we go to the browser, we can see that hello world. Okay, now we will do some modification within this index.html file. First thing what we need to do, we need to register the module within this index.html. So we have already seen in the previous video how to do that. For that we need to use this ng app directive, and we need to copy the module name and we need to use it here. Go back to the browser. So far no changes. Okay, come back to index.html again. Now we need to include that controller what we have defined. So ng controller will be our controller, which is demo controller. So we keep this ng app directive within body element, so which technically means Angular will be responsible for all the components whichever they are inside this body element. On the other way, as we have used this ng controller directive with demo controller value here, which technically means throughout this body element we have access to the properties of this controller. So within demo controller we have one property which is test message. So here if we write, if we open a span, okay, and within that span if we write a binding expression, and within that binding expression if we pass this property test message, so it should be accessible from this block. Now here you do not need to write like $scope.test message, because by saying so like ng controller is equal to demo controller, you have already instantiated the scope object. Okay, now you can directly use the properties that are there within that scope object by using this binding expression. Okay, so now if we go back to the browser, so we should see the message that we have defined here, that is hello world. So let's go back to the browser and see. So you can see the hello world message got printed here. Okay, and now do not get surprised by seeing like how automatically these results are coming, because Grunt is working on the background. So Grunt watch function is also running, so it's keep on watching the files, and whenever I make any changes, it's recompile the application and show the output in the browser. So this is how we can inject an Angular module in a view, and we can also inject an Angular controller within a view. And once we do so, so within that HTML element, all the controller property will be accessible. So as we have injected this demo controller here within body, so throughout this body tag we will be able to access all the properties that we have defined inside the $scope object within this demo controller. So in this video we have seen like what is Angular module, how to create a module, what is Angular controller, how to create a controller, and how to register a controller within an Angular module. And then we have also seen like how to inject an Angular module and Angular controller within a view, and how to access the controller properties from the view and show them on the browser. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you find this video helpful, please do leave a like below, and please share as much as possible, and please subscribe my channel for upcoming latest episodes on AngularJS. So keep watching. Thank you very much.